Did you know you can use a lot of Photoshop plugins in Affinity V3 and the prior versions of Affinity Photo? Well, you can. And this enables us to use one of the biggest free and open source plugins for Photoshop called Gimmick in Affinity, which comes with over 600 different filters and effects, including stuff like adding light leaks, applying CRT, VHS or glitch effects, and also use 2D and 3D stylization effects, like making an image look painted. It also includes several upscaling solutions. So in fact, Gimmick has both plugin and standalone versions. The standalone versions are released for Windows and multiple Linux distributions. For the plugins, it usually only has a Windows release, except for its GIMP plugin, where it is also released for Linux. If you're running Affinity on Linux, you could still try getting the Photoshop plugin to work. An official macOS release doesn't exist, but they are stating that you can also compile it for macOS. As I don't have access to a macOS system currently, I sadly can't test this myself, but I wanted to let you know. No matter if you're installing it for Affinity V3 or Affinity Photo V2 or V1, the process is pretty much the same. First, you have to download the right version of the Gimmick plugin from the GitHub page, which I will link in the description. From the latest release, you simply have to download the zip archive that matches the architecture of your PC. To check which architecture your PC is running, you can simply press the Windows key to open the Start panel, type System Information into the search bar, and then click on the first result. This should open a new window with multiple information about your system. And pretty close to the top of this list, you have to check what it reads under System Type. As you can see, I'm on a x64 architecture, so I will download the Gimmick plugin x64 zip archive. Then just open or extract the download archive. I'm using 7-zip for that. Now we will open either Affinity Photo or Affinity V3. After it launched, go to the bar at the top and expand the Edit dropdown to open the settings of Affinity. This should open a new window where we will go into the Photoshop plugins panel. From there, you can add custom directories where Affinity should look for plugins, but you can also simply use the default directory of Affinity by opening it using this button. This should bring up a new File Explorer instance where you are inside the plugin folder of Affinity. Now you simply have to drag and drop the Gimmick folder and the .8bf file from the zip archive we downloaded earlier into the plugin folder. One last important step now is to go back into Affinity and set a tick to the checkbox here saying allow unknown plugins to be used. Then you simply have to restart Affinity by closing and opening it again. You can check whether the installation was successful by opening the settings again and going into the Photoshop plugins to see if Gimmick is being detected. Now, to demonstrate how to use the plugin, I've already opened an image in Affinity. And the way you access the plugin is a bit different in Affinity V3 and Affinity Photo. In Affinity Photo, you simply go to the bar at the top and expand the filter dropdown, go to plugins, and then open Gimmick. In Affinity V3, you will have to go to Pixels, then hover over Filters, hover over Plugins, hover over Gimmick, and then you can open the plugin. I don't know why they felt like adding 2 more dropdowns to this. In both Affinity V3 and Affinity Photo, this will open up a new window where you can select different effects. So the basic process on how to apply these effects would be to choose a filter or effect from the list on the left here, which should, depending on the effect, give you a few more parameters for the effect that you can adjust here. By default, the preview of the effect should be on the right, where you can monitor what your effect looks like. Then you can either hit Apply if you want to add further effects to this, or click OK to send the result back into Affinity. Some effects also include upscaling, where it will usually save it as another external file after clicking OK, so don't get confused in case you're prompted to rename and save your file. Now I will show you some of my personal highlights of effects inside Gimmick. In the Arrays and Tiles category, you have several tiling effects, which can be useful for creating textures and patterns. For example, the Make Seamless effect, so that if you tile a texture, you can't tell that easily where each individual instance of the texture starts or ends. You also have an ASCII art effect here, which will map the brightness levels of your image to a set of text, symbols and characters. In the artistic category, you mostly have access to different stylus effects that apply a hand-drawn or painted look to your image. You can also find a few sketching effects in the black and white category, like the pencil portrait effect. Inside the colors category, you have different tools for color correction and grading, but also some film emulation tools, like the retro fade and sepia effect, or simply the simulate film effect, where you can choose different categories of presets and then choose the presets from it using those two drop downs, so you can apply the colors of certain film stocks to your image. From the contours category, you can apply different edge detection algorithms to your image. I personally like the canny edge detection a lot, as it gives very clean outlines. The deformations are a selection of displacement effects, including stuff like fisheye distortion and also some glitch effects like the shifter effect. Where it gets really interesting in my opinion is inside the degradations category, where you have a collection of different retro and glitch effects. My favorites here are the CRT subpixels effect, the pixel sort effect, the scanlines effect, and the VHS filter. The other CRT effects may take quite a while to preview, as they will also upscale your image, but you can also disable the upscaling of them by setting the upscale factor to 1. Then you can also add some lighting effects in the light and shadows category, like generating light rays from your image or adding some colorful light leaks. Another interesting category is the rendering category, where you can apply 3D effects to your image like extrusion or reconstruct your image from a grid of 3D blocks. But there also are some 2D textures you can render here, like a lightning bolt or some flashy colors using the nebulous filter. And the last category I want to point out is the repair category, where you of course can apply stuff like denoising to your image, but also have a collection of different upscale algorithms. And a cool feature here is that you can bookmark your favorite effects by right-clicking them to add them to your favorites, which will place a link to them in a custom category at the very top. So that was everything I wanted to show you in this video. Make sure to like and hype the video and to submarine to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Bye.